Yeah.
Pretty good, yeah.
All right, so one of the big changes right now.
Should we restart the ship so we can narrate? Well,
No, it's okay.
I'll just say that.
One of the big changes right now is your crew has basic needs. So food, energy, comfort, and social. So all the items that you build on your ship address some of those needs. Right now, Justin's putting in a couple beds. He's dropped in a shower, things like that, that'll help your crew stay happy, essentially. And basically what that's going to do is when your crew is happy, you're going to be more effective in combat, more effective on away team missions, more effective in diplomacy, and be able to recruit different types of crew members. Each of the items gives you certain things. So if you mouse over some of them, Justin, why don't you mouse over like the cook or like the bed? There in the lower right-hand corner, you can see this is a bed, and it gives you 20 energy and takes 5 power.
Yeah, and that's also reiterated in here, as you guys can see. So while I'm going through here, I can look at my crew and say, how is my crew feeling at this point? So I'll go to like Captain Charlie. His food is low, his energy is medium, his comfort's very low, and his social is very low too. So really, at this point, you are gauging how is my crew morale. And so he's very upset right now. So I need to get some more food for these guys, I need to get some more comfort, and I need to get, right now I'm still getting my ship ready. So to get food, I'm using this cook stove right here I built. And so they can use that to get refilled for food. My engineer is walking around the ship and building things right now too. And I am more money, so I'm going to have him connected. My power level, your ship also has an overall power. It has power, oxygen, and then other ship systems that you would expect. Some things like radiation and heat are also dealt with in the game and are simulated on this level. And so, as you can tell, Star Command Galaxies shifts from where Star Command Mobile emphasized combat and linearity. This will really emphasize management of the crew and building a ship that has a little more depth to it. And you have to keep your crew happy, You have to build showers, you have to build toilets, you have to build movie theaters to keep your crew happy and functioning while they're doing all these other things in space.
And one of the other elements of that is that certain crew members will want certain different things. So if you bring an Antorian on board the ship, they're going to want Antorian-like items. And they're going to create new tensions for you and new problems for you to kind of address. So they're going to want an Antorian bed, an Antorian entertainment. And it makes it a little bit harder for you to kind of keep a diversified crew. And the reason to bring an Antorian is they'll have their own special abilities, like resistance to radiation and things like that. The other thing about Star Command Galaxies is that you'll be able to visit other alien ships. They'll have equipment, and you'll be able to invade them and go during combat and go explore their ships. So again, for instance, one of the problems with attacking Antorian ships is they're going to be highly radioactive. So you're going to have special suits to invade their ships.
There you go. Oh, I need power.
Why don't you add a couple crew members out of captain in there?
So let's get these guys.
Yeah. So So the question is, can the devs please speak to this Kickstarter Part 2 campaign and the special rooms that people pledge for? So those are all going to be in the game. So Dr. Klobaticus, the dogs and things like that are all going to be in the game. Dr. Klobaticus and the dog are going to be also coming out on mobile very soon. One of the things about mobile, as a side note, is we've been working on a Windows Phone version of the game. And so that will be coming out pretty soon. We've been converting over into Cocos 3, so that's been a big part of the delay. And we've also been working on brand new, lots of new updates. So that includes Dr. Klobaticus, that includes the dogs. We're working on a new race called Pirates, Space Pirates, as well as a free roam mode that basically allows you to go anywhere in the galaxy.
That free roam mode will be, showcased in another thing, I think, at depth. But yeah, it's essentially an attempt to address the end game of mobile. Sorry, that's a ball. So cool. She's got that. I go get him that way. So as you can see here in this room, this generator generates a lot of heat, and so the room actually turns to red. And if he opens the door, you can see that the heat from that room is entering this other room, and my engineer has been incapacitated. Luckily, we have to turn death off, so he can't die right now. So once I shut that door, the heat will still start escaping, but hopefully slowly dissipate.
So basically, the floor is red because there's heat in that room. So, Justin, if you want to build, why don't you build in the front of the room, in front of the ship, a radioactive generator? Sure.
And then send some guys in there to do that.
Yeah. Obviously. If you go down to fix that thing.
So Josh is asking a couple questions about why this is different from the original Kickstarter. And I guess the one thing I would say is it's not different at all. Basically, our premise for the second Kickstarter was a much larger, more expanded version of Star Command. Star Command Mobile, just because of Star Command Mobile, there was a lot of limitations. I would kind of compare it to Star Wars and Empire Strikes Back. Star Wars had, when Lucas made Star Wars, he had a lot of limitations. He didn't have the budget. And with Empire, he had a lot more time and resources to figure out kind of the vision he wanted to make. And I think it's a very similar analogy, where we kind of made the game we had to make, just because of our limited knowledge of making games, our limited team size, our limited budget. And a lot of that stuff has been expanded significantly for the second, for the new game, which is Galaxies. If you saw our original Kickstarter video for Star Command, our intention was always to have things like open building, things like diplomacy, but frankly, we just couldn't cram all that into the time span and budget and team size that we had. And so, Star Command Galaxies is really just kind of a more, I don't know if true is the right word, but a far larger version of the game. A lot of the exact same principles will be in here, but we want to make it really clear that the focus this time is not on combat, as it is more on the crew, how you develop them, the ships that you build, and then away teams. In Star Command Galaxies, you'll be able to explore star bases and things like that, make trades with different races. And so, I would say they're similar in spirit, and very similar in execution, but Star Command Galaxies is a far larger experience. So I don't think that they're different games in a negative way. So
the PC port is essentially Cocos 3. As far as our plans go, we probably will give that to the Kickstarters if they want it. And I think they do. but it is essentially the mobile game ported to PC. And we're optimizing the controls because some of the menus don't quite work as well as we'd like, just because they're different interfaces. One's a mouse and keyboard, the other is not. So, I mean, with the mobile conversion to PC, there's several problems that you wouldn't normally. Yeah, I'm and so there's a lot of things to think about when we're porting the mobile to PC and does it play right. And I think when we put it in the hands, once the Cocos conversion is done, we get it in the hands of the mobile players. I think they'll see a lot of the reasons why we're doing Star Command Galaxies. Star Command Galaxies is designed around PC in mind, whereas mobile was mobile, and you can convert it. This newer, bigger game is essentially going to answer a lot of those questions that people have on mobile, and where's the diplomacy? It's hard to design a mobile game that can do all the things that we wanted it to do and be on a mobile environment. Limitations in hardware, limitations in development time, team size, and such. And we're trying to learn all those lessons and apply them here to Star Command Galaxies to make it just a better game. There's another part of that we want to show you, or we could show you and we plan to show you the mobile conversion running on PC. Just so you don't think that it's like, a cop-out. It's truly something to be, something to be completed, whereas the PC build is actually a genuine thought, a complete thought. Any other questions?
Justin, keep your computer on. Will you shut Justin's computer as well?
No, it's not.
Yeah, let me switch.
Sure.
Well, let's switch over to the planet mode for a little bit, kind of show you. So basically, after you kind of build the ship that you want to build and expand to the area you want to expand, you'll be able to go to the a real-time map and basically pick the area you want to go to. So you'll have the option to go through planets, go through asteroid fields, go through star bases and things like that. Really go and explore the galaxy. Your ship is kind of your home base, a mobile home base is the best way to put it. And so once you feel pretty comfortable with where you're at, the best thing to do is kind of go test your crew, more or less. And so I'm going to start basically the planet version, the away team's version of the game. So right now they're very separate things as we kind of continue to develop them. But clearly at the end of the day, you'll be able to pick your away team, send them off on the teleporter, and beam down to a planet and go through a variety of missions. One of the things about having the food, energy, comfort, and social elements of the game is that you'll have finite resources. So you'll have to do things like set up mining colonies, set up farming colonies and things
solar
like that.
collectors.
So that you can collect, so that your crew and your ship can continue to be have resources, and so you'll run out of food on your ship.
Yeah.
One of the other things that you can do is kind of go and explore planets and look for things like native life, catalog wildlife, lots of different types of missions on top of planets. And so basically, what you see here is a jungle planet. An example here of a mission would be discovering ancient relics and then setting up a research base. And so that's kind of what we're going to do here, is kind of explore the planet and look for an ancient relic. So I don't know exactly where it is on here, but we're going to go ahead and look around. So planets will have day-night cycles. You can see this is a nighttime planet right now. We don't have any enemies on here, but clearly there'll be hostile wildlife, hostile intelligent life, as well as competing species. So if you build a base in Antoria space, there's a good chance the Antorians are going to be attacking your bases that you set up quite often.
Yeah, the diplomatic aspect of it will hopefully carry out into different parts of the game. So if I piss off the Antorians over here, they're going to start building more aggressive ships. And if I, say, attack a base of an Antorian base, maybe a mining colony on one of these planets, and I take it over for my own good, that's going to piss the Antorians off. So those ramifications are going to cascade into the universe. And so you're going to be fighting more Antorian ships if you're at war with the Antorians. And so with the hex map and the galactic map as a whole, you're going to see this ongoing relationship have ramifications. And that's the vision.
But there's also a certain amount of the enemy of my enemy is my friend. So,
That's
like,
right.
for instance, say if you're in the middle of the game where the Trilaxians and Cortex are at war, then if you wind up doing things for the Trilaxian, Cortex are going to get a little more mad at you. If you do things for the Cortex, Trilaxians are going to start going after you.
That's right. It's again, the focus of Star Command Galaxies is to give the player more options to what to do, Don't just go and shoot things. Let's go to the planet and explore things. And let's discover new species and get science points for researching new species. Or let's mine planets and get engineering resources for setting up really complete bases on planets. And so the player will have multiple ideas of which way they want to go.
So we've discovered the relic. So we've discovered an ancient relic, and so I'm going to build a base around it. So let's go to the colony. I guess we have to build the wall first.
You can build
most of that stuff outside.
Yeah, I just built a power generator.
Yeah,
Just
you
outside
need
of there.
a little power, but yeah, otherwise you're good.
A little power generator.
They want me to take my shirt off.
All right, take it off. Take it off. Our planet's randomized. Yes, absolutely. This planet is generated procedurally, and there's actually different archetypes for planets. So you have different biomes: ice, desert, jungle, grasslands, lava planets, and ice, dead, barren, deserted ones. We have already a really rich library of planet assets. So as we develop, we're going to
all that stuff.
keep inventing what planets do and what makes different environments, more hostile, less hostile. What types of things do your crew have to have on them to be able to visit certain planets, or what types of weapons can I put on my people to try and make them adapt better to the world to which you're trying to do something.
Hang on. And I'm gonna exit out. We're having a slowdown bug. So let me reboot this real quick. It's just one of our behavior bugs. So I'll just restart it real quick. 2 seconds.
Again, early build, folks.
Yeah.
Early build.
So I want you to know that wasn't lag. That was just the game actually slowing down. It's a behavior bug where they're looking for something that doesn't exist yet. And eventually it compounds into them slowing down to a crawl.
What's especially funny is that might well have to do with energy, which sort of makes it so the crew is kind of crawling because they're out of energy.
Yeah. Somebody asked what the price will be. You don't really know.
It'll probably compare with like Starbound and games in that nature. So Starbound. So I don't know, anywhere. We're not 100% sure. Whatever seems fair for the size of the game. That would probably be the closest answer. What?
Nate says they heard that we're releasing next week.
Yeah, that's
right.
That was a wish.
I heard that. I just heard that.
Our intent. Our intent. No, I haven't talked about it. Well, so research tree is a term that is a game term if you think about it. Research tree, and it indicates that linear path from worse to middle to better. And so we're more interested in sort of having a less linear experience wherever we can stop it. If there's a lesson to be learned, it's that linearity will prevent the person playing the game over and over. So in Civilization, it's perfect. But I don't know if in our game it's so perfect. I don't know if we're going to try to have an end game that your units are much more advanced. I like more the approach that some things are good and some things are bad, but everything is about even. And it's more your tool set that you've chosen for your specific game experience that's going to get you. So someone who explores a lot isn't going to have a need for a certain, perhaps, research tree. But in the typical sense, we're wary of the concept of a research tree, and that it sort of indicates a little bit of linearity. We're trying to make the game as open-ended as we can, so we do intend to have science points. Like, we do want science and research and discovering new items and maybe archaeological digs on alien worlds. Things like that would actually give you science points that could perhaps unlock new objects, new improvements. So that would be a good one.
So now I've got power, so I'm going to set up some stuff inside my base.
That one goes on walls.
No, I think this is a wall. What's it? I need to.
Yeah, in terms of downloadable content, that's the way we're constructing Star Trek Galaxies. Literally, we're learning from the whole industry, and some of the things that are really exciting are Steam Marketplace, such items like that. And one of the ways in which we're actually kind of thinking about this title is what can we do to make it easier for the community to add their own parts to the game? And that's absolutely how we've been doing it from day one. Is every item in the game has a Lua script that configures what the item does, and that is open up to anybody. Anyone can do that. And so we're trying to develop these tool sets and develop in such a manner that we can make it as easy as possible for people like yourselves to add your own objects into the game.
Yeah,
to make it a complete, more rich universe.
Modding
what you can't think of.
Modding in our second Kickstarter was one of our stretch goals, and it's I would say, a huge focus for us internally. Basically, every single item in the game, every character in the game, has some kind of Lua script attached to them, allowing you to really kind of modify and build whatever you want to build. So our goal is to really, one of the things we've talked about internally, and I'd say a big contrast between Star Command Galaxies and Star Command Mobile, is that Star Command Galaxies features no narrative. One of the things we really want to focus on is you kind of create the narrative. Whether you're a peacetime ship, a wartime ship, there is no real guaranteed story progression.
Right.
Compared to Star Command Mobile, which was very much a linear story, which is fine, they're just very different types of games. In Star Command Galaxies, one of the things that we're going to be focusing on as a team is laying out the tool set for things like missions and stories and developing characters and things like that for the community to do, but that really isn't our focus. Our focus is on the tool set, is on a solid core gameplay, and really not writing the content. We're really kind of focused on letting the community do the content. Like Star Command Galaxies won't ship with a single storyline or anything like that. You kind of determine those things. So in one game, you're at peace with the Antorians, and you're both fighting against the Trilax, and then you end up wiping out the Minorans. In a completely different game, the Cortex are invading everyone's space, and you're just kind of a neutral party. We basically don't want to handhold any kind of the story elements.
Yeah. One thing that mobile taught us is that as much as we'd like to get story into the game, the problem with any story is that once you read it once, you know it. And so we would be constantly pressured to keep adding new content as we are with mobile right now. It's really hard for us because we only have so many hours in the day to make as many stories as we can think of. So we are really trying to make Star Command Galaxies an open-ended, more sandbox type of game where you don't have to do what everyone else does. You create your own narrative, you create your own story. are you an asshole tactician who just destroys anything you come across? We'll reward you for that in that own play cycle. You know, you'll get more and more powerful weapons if you're focusing only on weapons. But we don't want that to be the only way to play the game. In fact, we're trying to emphasize every other thing. You need to be a good captain. You know, your crew needs food. They need entertainment. They need comfort. And so different types of things like that are still going to play out across the board. But what does the science vessel do for entertainment? What does an engineering vessel do? Type play experience end up with? What types of objects are on your ship in that situation? So we're trying to really open up the paths, and so you get to define your own play style.
Sorry, we're getting a little.
Yeah, sometimes as you can see, it does. You know, we have some looping bug, and then it comes out. There we go.
And it clears. Yeah.
That will not be in the final version.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
That's not a feature. Yeah.
That outdoor shower, yes, please. Nice.
An outdoor shower.
Yeah. We need to clean ourselves off.
So let's fan out. Let's look for
I mean, one thing I don't know if I did clearly in the ships building demo is a big aspect of Star Command Mobile was choosing if your guy should be tactical, engineer, or science. And we are kind of going along that same line in that you are going to start as a civilian or a basic person, and you're actually going to have to teach each of your crew members which tasks they will do. So on this thing, we have security training, engineering training, and science training to get you started. And those are obvious because they've already been defined in Star Command Mobile. But in fact, in Star Command Galaxies, we're trying to grow that out to the point where you have lots of jobs. You have hackers. You have counselors. Marines. Dropship Marines. Ideas like that are really exciting to us. And we like this, we like Final Fantasy tactics. We love this job training idea that you earn and you're vested in your crew. And so the longer you train your crew and the more time and effort you put into customizing them and getting them to advanced jobs, you're going to feel a lot more connection with them. You're going to feel like, oh my God, I can't lose, Ensign Ricky, who now is presumably Colonial Marine Ricky. And if you lose him, you're angry because you've trained him. You've put a lot of time into him, and you've kept him happy, and he just died. He just got sucked out into space, and that's really sad. So that, we hope, creates a deeper gameplay experience.
Anything that anyone wants to see? I can go back to the shipbuilding just to kind of show that off a little bit more.
And can I buy a caffeine injector and go up?
We've all been asking that.
Yeah, right.
And that's actually where a lot of items come from. We think, what would we like in real life? Well, let's put it in the game.
Yeah, we'll sell it. I bet Starbucks is selling that pretty soon. Caffeine injector. Yes, you can have a ship. Yeah, nice tactics. One of the questions I saw was, can you have multiple ships? No, we don't plan on that. We think that a ship and a colony, and maybe multiple colonies, is more than enough for someone to get their head around within the greater context.
The important distinction about Star Command versus like Masters of Orion and some of the games in a similar genre is Star Command, you are Captain Kirk. You are not, you're just a single captain. You're not an admiral commanding the fleet. You're not deciding, what planets, what the policies of your empire are or anything like that. You're just a captain, and that's a very important distinction for us. And so one of the things we did talk about early was, it might be kind of fun to have a science ship and a warship or something like that. But the more we talked about it, the more it became, well, now you're really just starting to have another Masters of Orion type game where this ship does one thing, this ship does another thing, and really the point of the game is to expand your empire. Whereas with Star Command Galaxies, we really want it to be focused on your crew. A really, really, really big focus for us is making it so that you have an organic experience where you have your own Bones, McCoy, and Kirk kind of, guys that you like that have been around with you for a long time. If anyone ever played XCOM, the original XCOM, there was never any storytelling for your crew. You kind of always filled in the blanks yourself. It was like, oh, this guy is just a grizzled vet who's made it through 10 battles, and but you never really had that story told to you. You kind of did it yourself. And so one of our goals is to help you with that story, but not ever really do it for you.
So, yeah, why don't you show, like, photos of people?
Sure.
What?
So we could wrap this up. It's been about an hour. Maybe we'll get a last round here while I build these here.
Yeah, let's show you a little bit cleaner version of building ships. So why don't you start with, so one of the other things that we really like is like the Spock saves the Enterprise type scenario. Like we said, like some of the objects you build on your ship are actually a hazard. So we'll start this ship with a radiation generator. And one of the things you're going to have to do as a captain and as a builder is decide, all right, what do I do with something as combustible as a radiation generator? Do I, for instance, repairing something like that is going to be a real challenge, especially if I don't have radiation suits. When this thing is damaged, or when there's when there's a hull breach in one of my walls, radiation can leak out into the entire ship. And so you want to make it so that a lot like Sim City, where a coal plant has some benefits in that it gives you a lot of cheap power, but it also produces a lot of pollution. Something very similar to Star Command, where you get a lot of power out of a radiation generator, but you're going to have a lot of liabilities and upkeep with it. You're going to have to do a lot of repairs and things like that.
Should I run the older version here? I think the guys will want to do that. Once this radiation thing goes live, we're gonna have radiation. But that's exactly the type of ideas we want. With Sims or some of these Sim City games, it's like you have clean energy and you have dirty energy. We want similar trade-offs. We want similar paper, rock, scissors type systems to create just a more interesting, sort of engineering mentality.
And Papa Grumps just asked an interesting question, which is, can I be a floating brothel? And you can't necessarily be a floating brothel, but what is interesting about that preposition, or that premise, is we want to present the tools where really you can be whatever you want to be. You can build a ship that has cloaking, and really powerful scanners, and have a guide, and focus your crew around hacking. So your job as a ship is to kind of keep hidden, keep your, tactically pick your enemies, and then send in your hackers onto a ship and take it down that way. While someone else might pick a ship and develop, strong weapons, or someone might have a very strong diplomatic tool, which is basically, like you said, like a brothel, so a pleasure barge. So diplomacy is your type. So you can always bargain your way out of situations. So again, we don't want to tell you how to play the game. We just want it to be basically here's the tool set, you pick your adventure, basically.
You can see the radiation starting to flood that room. So do not open that door.
Yeah, so you'll see the green on the floor, and that represents radiation that will kill you guys very quickly.
And so, our intention is that radiation generators would probably be very cheap and affordable, but at the same point, if they ever get a puncture in one of the walls, you're going to have a radiation leak. So you have to make these trade-offs as a captain. How safe can I make that radiation wall around it? How secure can I make my ship so that I don't have a radiation leak when I'm in the middle of a mission or something along those lines?
Multiple enemy ships is being discussed.
Yeah.
Technically speaking, it's not nearly as prohibitive as it was on mobile. There was a lot of problems with doing that on mobile, but the way we've architected the game this time, it's definitely possible. It's more of a gameplay thing, whether that becomes an issue of managing too many things at once. There's just a raw part where it just simply becomes too chaotic.
Again, back to the point about modding, though, we really want to leave the engine wide open for people to say, if we don't include things like multiple ships, we definitely believe that the tool set will be there to get in there and say, I have a multiple ship patch where people can essentially battle 2, 3, and have massive, massive battles.
That would be cool.
Yeah, it's one of the things that we're thinking about, but it's not really in our design spec right now. We'd rather keep things tight and well balanced versus these massive armada battles. It's really not really the focus of the design, I suppose.
Cool.
So I'll, for anyone that didn't hear the answer earlier, for mobile, and we'll put some posts up on to make things a little bit more formal. But basically, what we've done on the mobile front. You want to go back to planets one more time?
I want to try this. I think you guys
On the mobile front, basically we've transferred over into Cocos, Cocos 3, and that has taken a long time to make that transfer. We're going to be releasing on Windows Phone as a result of that.
Yeah,
and
that's exciting.
Yeah, that is
I'm sure
exciting.
there's a whole group of people who have these phones that can't play Star Command.
Yeah, so, and then on top of that, we are working on updates. So basically, we've started to integrate, we're pretty far on integrating Dr. Chromaticus, which is a brand new room in the game, dogs, free roam, which basically means there's no more linear story. You can go wherever you want. And then we're introducing space pirates, as well as things like contraband, so items that you can equip on your crew, like gravity boots, flamethrowers, things like that. So I want to be really clear that neither project is necessarily being pushed aside or anything like that. We have a dual focus at all times. But Galaxies, just because of the scope of the game, requires more as far as just personality. It's a massive, massive, massive game. And I'm sure there's probably been some questions about timeline. That build doesn't. That build does not have it. You can see a couple of our builds right now. Timeline-wise, basically we're thinking we're going to be starting with the Kickstarters. Kickstarters will definitely get the very first shot at this. As soon as we get to a point, like you can tell right now, there's some real problems with the alpha. Just don't right-click on this and go force quit. Okay. Yeah, there you go. Kickstarters will definitely get the very first crack at the game as we kind of polish things. Basically, when we have the overhead map, the combat engine, and basically planets and the ships really ironed out, you can probably expect Kickstarters to start getting that alpha and starting to help us kind of grind out bugs, get some play balance things done, and then we'll slowly move into a RimWorld type thing where we'll probably go to web sales on our own website, and then slowly move towards a Steam type thing. But the goal really isn't to sell 400,000 units or something like that. We really want to kind of keep it small, keep it close to our fans, and really kind of have you guys help us make the game a lot better. And so, timeline-wise, we always hate dates because everyone just gets pissed off about dates. So I won't say dates. I feel good about this year. I'll say that. I would say very good, especially for the Kickstarters and web sales. Very good about this year. There's a lot of progress on the game. We have some re-architecting to do, but we feel like this year is very likely. That's all I can say. But we hate dates because the dates aren't important. What's really, really, really important is that the game is good.
Yeah.
I will say this. Our big thing about dates is we have no incentive to make this last any longer than it should. Because there's a significant amount of time and money poured into this. And so if anyone ever feels like you guys are delaying this, I can assure you that is never the case. There's literally nothing we get out of delaying a title or, making updates.
Yeah.
So we definitely try to be as honest as we can when it comes to those things, but there's just a reality of if it's not fun, if it's not ready, we simply can't release it.
The problem is with so many games, that if you just release it and it's okay, you'll just get lost in the mix, and you'll just get forgotten so quickly. And it's almost it's just a challenge as a game developer to make a complete idea and not rush it. Even though you have really, you guys have given us your money, you've given us your time and your patience, your infinite patience. It could all be for naught if you release a game that just stinks. We might have fulfilled you guys, and you would say, "Yeah, we did deliver a game, but we want to deliver a good game." And games take time; they're complex things, and we're learning how to do this. This is our second game, and so it's a learning process. It always has been, but we have learned a lot from what we did with mobile, and we're ambitious, and we're trying to do the game that we always wanted it to be. And it's like, take what you learned from mobile and have this ongoing, creative process of learning from your mistakes or learning from feedback from the community and trying to make a better game.
And I think that's a large part of why we're going to release it to Kickstarters first. Is that way we can get your feedback, and if it's something where it seems fun to us, but you're seeing that it's not really fun to you, let us know why. Let us know what you would like to see.
That's right.
And then, we'll see what we can incorporate in. If we have one person that says, I hate Antorians, another person that says, everyone should be an Antorian, we obviously can't meet both.
Exactly.
Requests,
but this is their game. They funded it and they made it happen. And so we want them to have an active participation. And with mobile, it always was the forums and it was the beta testers, but it's hard. It's hard with a mobile game to do that. With PC, it's just, PC games just have a lot longer history of having an active back and forth between the developers and the community, especially with the rate you can release things and the open-ended nature of desktop games.
Sure. So, any other questions? What? You just butchered that.
I am the Green Basic.
If you go this long, you can fucking play
But I will not.
Also, not a feature we will be adding into the final version of the game.
So
you cannot terraform the entire planet as an office.
Yeah, exactly. There's some flood issues that if Justin builds this incorrectly,
should we just try it?
Flood fill. There it is. So now you can see.
So now we're happy.
Now you can see a flood-filled planet, a massive flood.
Right. Well, I think that's what we wanted to cover today. I'd like to spend all day playing it and trying to show you guys show it in our I'd like to show everything off, but
yeah. Is there speaking of the demo, is there stuff you guys would like us to do real quick or see real quick? Is there things that are a little unclear?
I'll name it.
Yeah, do you have any questions coming in?
Our shirts are staying on, goddammit.
Combat working yet?
No, combat's in
combat. Well, combat is working, but it's really just basically combat is the thing that we're least concerned about, just because we basically have a version of that which is Star Command Mobile. It's pretty proven. If you look at Star Command Mobile as a whole, it's very much a combat simulator, and it's really the feature we're the least concerned about getting correct. Clearly, there's going to be some polish, some new features like hacking and targeting and things like that in the PC version that weren't there. But really, our focus is on the things that are really kind of brand new, like keeping your crew happy, building custom ships, making sure that's feeling really good. Planets are a huge focus just because, you know, one of the questions with planets is always, does it feel real? Does it feel like a real planet? One of the things that you'll see in our demo is there are no hills. We have a hill generator, but we have some serious bugs at sea level. And so basically the demo we just showed you today is a flat plane. But right now the planet is definitely, and you can guarantee that there's hills in the final version of the game. Varying landscapes, things like lava planets, ice planets. We are going to be kind of borrowing from Star Wars, which is a single ecosystem for every single planet.
Right. There's no multiple ecosystems on one biome.
Biomes.
Food.
For what?
For the actual. Yeah, for Galaxies.
Warballoon. Oh, wait. What do you mean? What's the question? Warballoon. On the blog, so another thing that we've been kind of, I know Kickstarter's going to kick us in the butt for saying this, but we're not very good at updates. And the big reason for that is because we weren't 100% sure what we wanted to talk about just yet. Because you don't want to commit to a feature, and then everyone says, oh, that sounds like really a lot of fun, and then we completely change the feature. And so, now that the game is in a far much further along, and we basically have a title out there, and a lot of the gameplay mechanics are kind of known, I can guarantee that our updates will be a lot more consistent. I'll give you an example, though, of why sometimes we don't update. 2 weeks ago, the only thing we were doing was working on behavior code, or a week ago. Those don't make for very engaging blog updates. There's a lot of people doing what feels like very small steps forward. So sometimes you'll get a brand new feature in, and it feels like a lot of stuff is happening. And sometimes you're grinding through some bugs and things like that really just aren't. There really just isn't a lot to report. And so we kind of we don't really want to drag you through the grind of making the game. We'd like to kind of show you the fun stuff and not really tell you about we're having a problem with the porta potties and they don't work at all. And here's the 17 reasons why. That kind of gets dull after the 55th time that we talk about it. The 50th time.
50th. That's my favorite. There's like 50th is nice, but
50 is a good round number. Tim will be the one that will be giving updates. So if you're not happy with it, I will give out his personal email right now.
That sounds great. It's 123@gmail.com.
Yeah, right. I'm amazed you got that before anyone else did. That was one of the first Gmail accounts.
Connections.
Yeah, connections.
And it'll either go to me or it'll go to some guy that's not expecting it, and we'll just wonder why he's suddenly getting all sorts of complaints.
So Dion just said, is the mobile version a basic version of this? And the answer is both yes and no. The answer is technically yes, because Star Command Mobile was our learning. It was for us, especially as a brand new gaming company. We were learning quite a bit about making games. We were limited again in team size, budget, and time, and as well as technical limitations. Mobile just doesn't have the processing power and things like that. The minimum specs on the worst PC are better than basically most top-end phones. And so,
in chat, they want to see your face.
Yeah, come on over, show yourself, man.
They want to prove. They want proof.
Guys. No, you're not in the frame.
Yeah, come on, get in there.
See me? And then we have one other guy.
It was just your neck.
We have another guy that's he's out.
Aaron is on vacation.
Yeah, Aaron is on vacation, but he does exist.
Yeah.
We're mobile gaming. We have some mixed emotions about mobile games. We had a lot of success internally. and it really kind of shot off for us. We sold a lot of units on mobile, and we have to thank you guys. I mean, it goes without saying that you guys are literally a gigantic reason for that. And so, but mobile is a really funky thing. There's no doubt about it. I have a guy down but mobile is a weird environment. It's super competitive, and our design inclinations and the games that we all love, rarely does a mobile game ever get brought up. We never really talk about, besides game dev story, New Aliens. New Aliens, there'll definitely be Kickstarter aliens. That's a guarantee. So what's that?
Right now.
Do you want to see some new aliens right now? We'll probably do. New species aren't really our focus at the moment, but later in the process, if it feels like one of the things we're definitely going to be doing, guaranteed, is releasing the sprite sheets and the Lua configs very early for our aliens and for the crew members, so that you guys can mod them. And if you are so inclined to create a new species, that will be well before release. And so, one of the other things that are planning on doing is it's guaranteed that we'll be using the Steam Workshop. One of our big influences, Team Fortress 2, and so we really want to leverage content creators and be able to have you not only make content, but possibly make a living off of it. I don't know if our game will ever get to the size where you can make a living off of content, but if you make a great alien species, or you make a great mission, or you make a great multi-ship pack where you can have multiple ships and battles, we are all for being able to put that up on the Steam Workshop, and leverage it and make your own money from it. And that is
it's a really exciting area. Like when I played Team Fortress 2, you can buy, if you want to buy one.
Sure.
You can buy stamps for the maps and give back to the developers. And, that's a great idea that we support. I mean, it's fun as a developer to, mimic some of the great trends that you see, some of the positive
We're
trends.
out of money. You just
I built an ATM, though. The nice part about this game is right now our economy is basically ATM, so just go and withdraw a bunch of money from that.
Yet another one of those things that we would like to see in real life. You just go to an ATM and just keep getting extra dollar.
Go withdraw money. Go withdraw space bucks from the space ATM.
I mean, that's an important part of Galaxies, I think. It starts with
where's the ATM?
It's above the director. Yeah, he's getting your money right now. Oh, it is. This is not phone bill. Yeah, is that the ATM? Maybe that is building. But the one part that I think everybody likes about Star Command is the light-hearted nature of it, and we really want to the whole naming of our comfort, food, energy, comfort, and social is feces. And you can already, it's meant to be that. It's meant to be like space farts and space toilets. And what is entertainment? What are bars? What are some alien trade posts that you can go to? And what are some star bases that you can visit that really, one of the ideas we have is a Galaxies Star Mall. And, you can go to this mall and shop. And, but it will all be lighthearted in a lot of ways. So that's to me is one of the funnest parts about Star Command is how lighthearted it really is. It's always fun to make jokes in there. So lots of fun. It's an emotional cat. Yeah. We'll see if we do great. Yeah. Well, we are making progress quicker than we even thought on Galaxies. It's not always the case, and it probably won't always be the case. But things are going very well for Galaxies. This is rough and it's prototypey, but we're getting the mechanics down. We're getting the core down, and we're trying to get it into your guys' hands as soon as we can to start really, polishing this thing and getting it to be playable as soon as possible. And adding more later. So
one of the reasons that we're showing the game right now is it's basically gotten to a point where we feel pretty confident about the core mechanics. We feel pretty confident about basically the direction that the game is heading. And Usually when you get to this point where you're not exploring as much, you're kind of confident about at least the core part of the game. Things start actually going a lot quicker. I can, believe me, when we were just starting out, deciding, like, right now the game is made in Unity. You've probably seen it boot up a couple times. When we were first starting out, we were pretty discouraged just because it took us a long time to get things online and get the game going. And you know, you'd spend a full month and not see one thing. But now things happen very much at a rapid fire pace.
So it is exciting.
Are there any questions?
Will you guys have actual toilets and stuff? Or will it always be a porta potties? Yeah, I think so on that note, the way to think of it is we have a porta potty right now, but we could also go to regular space toilets and Torian toilets, and each one will have a different benefit. You know, maybe porta potties are more comfortable or more private than out in the open toilet, so maybe their comfort rating's a little higher, but they smell worse. So the smell kind of emanates every couple hours, and so you don't like that. You need a janitor to go and perhaps clean up the mess.
Yeah, or depending on what sort of thing you do that, I sort of have a thought on an Antorian that every now and then feels radiation.
Yeah, and it's things like that are really kind of fun. Theme Park is a great game. We're trying to get some of those fun nuances, a little litter on the ground. I think litter on the ground on your spaceship, lowering people's comfort and their mood and morale is important, because you should have a janitor. Where's all the space janitors? And so things like that are something that we want to get. We want to get that whole 24-hour mini world going on. Then just go to Red Light. Love you.
Don't worry about it. Red Light is
the Red Light room.
Diplomacy, folks.
Yeah, reach an engineer.
Someone was asking about the rock. What's that? Wait, what did you say?
I'm not sure. You guys looked into getting any sponsors, publishers? Maybe sponsors in terms of
we talked to some publishers. That is, at the moment, not very likely at all.
Yeah, I mean,
there's some places that we feel like we would be a good fit, but it's really not about. That's a complicated question.
Basically, we're trying to complete the game with our resources that we have now, and if for some reason we run out of resources or something like that, we will seek out additional help.
Yeah, the game,
whether it's through a publisher or additional funding.
But the game will definitely focus on tournaments. It will remain the focus. Yeah. It is meant to be a fun game that you have a bit more connection to your crew. And that's the core value or core design principle of Galaxies is to focus on the crew. You make your ship more interesting, more fun place to be. And right now we have a limited amount of assets, but even with this limited amount of things to play with, you can already start to see how this is just a more rich experience than mobile. You can put things wherever you want. And one of the best parts of these types of games are the unintended consequences that happen, and things like that. So, turrets inside your ship I think is a great idea, and something we're not in mobile. You already have sentries, so I think base defense and tower defense style invasion on ship combat is something that is absolutely going to make it. You can pause the game. Right now, you can't pause it, but our intention is to be able to pause the game and then resume it, so you don't feel too hectic. I think it's important in any real-time game to be able to pause it if your kid falls over.
And we also mentioned save states.
I think that's right. I think most games that we play in this genre have save states, and so I think that's something that we should absolutely have. Again, it's along the lines of I've put so much time and effort, and the ship is an extension of my creativity or lack thereof, that if I lose it, I'm going to be disappointed, and we can't take that lightly. It should happen, but I think you should be able to load and save that ship that you spent a lot of time. We can simulate a vacuum. So one of the questions was, can we simulate a hull breach? We do have vacuum states that will spread. It's a lot like, but we don't have a way of rebuilding. We don't have a repair of walls yet. So no, we can't simulate.
Combat and really the ship-to-ship combat is basically a September thing. It's basically what we're going to be looking at in September.
We're essentially building the base game, and then we'll be able to then account for all of your on-ship crew morale and all the other different systems and how those affect how well you do in battle. So we didn't want to build battle first and then build the rest of the game. We wanted to build the rest of the game and then add battle to that so that it really synced with each other.
I think one of the parts of this game, someone alluded to it, in FTL you can open and close doors, and I think we're going to have a similar functionality in our game where you can lock doors and make sure your crew, because one part of Galaxies is that when you have so many crew and you have so many things going on, they need their own behavior, and much more sophisticated than mobile. So people need to walk around a lot more and do their own thing because there's a lot more things going on. We can't expect the player to take care of every little issue. So sometimes that revolves around making sure that people don't do stupid things. So one way of doing that is to lock doors. Another is to set pathways, set behaviors, set checkpoints. One idea we have is green alert and red alert mode, where you change the nature of when people start recharging their feces and their comfort. So that'll be a nice gameplay issue there, where you don't want your crew to be stupid. You don't want them to make mistakes, and so as a captain, as the builder, you have to make sure your crew are safe. I think that's about it for the demo. I mean, there's a lot of great ideas in here, and I think people already are starting to get that the game is a lot more open-ended, and there's areas for ideas that seem wild at this point, but there's so many gameplay systems that play or planned in Galaxies, and a lot of these wild ideas could probably make the game, like biological weapons could have an area effect. So, these are good ideas, and I think, as we go forward, we'll continue to just go back and forth and try to steal your ideas. Or get
Yes, good.
Community participation, everybody.
Well, should we sign off for now? There's always going to be questions.
We'll be on the chat for a little while longer, and we'll probably do this again. And we'll have a lot more experience doing the Twitch. Thanks for bearing with us at the start there.
These are always going to be rough.
We'll get a lot better at this. This was our very, very first one, and so clearly there's some things for us to fix, especially with the audio. But tune in next time. We'll have probably a big update and show you where we're at. A lot more stuff. And then hopefully maybe
Hills on Planet is really good.
Yeah, it is really good. There's a lot of really neat stuff that they're still kind of incubating. And so, again, thanks for dealing with us at the beginning there. Next time it'll go a lot smoother, and then ask us questions on Twitter or Facebook. Now that the game title and kind of our direction is out there, it's a lot easier for us to kind of answer and give directions about what our goals are and what the plan is.
They're just saying thanks and good game. It's good to hear that stuff. So that is.
Yeah, and thank you to our Kickstarters as always. I know sometimes we have a strange relationship, but you guys really kind of help us.
I think the silent majority is the best type, and they're there waiting patiently for more, and we're trying our best, and we're going to continue to do this, and so we'll keep you posted on how that all goes. So cool. That's all I got. So
No.
How do we cut the feed, or?
Yep.
Is the chat still there, or I don't know?
Yeah, we can still chat.